With titles like better than PS5, Steam Deck is king, Steam Deck is a Nintendo Switch of PC gaming handhelds, it's better than the Ally X. You'd think the answer is clear. Buy a Steam Deck. However, as a PC gamer, being able to actually live with this thing, you're able to see it in all its splendor and its failures, especially if you have another device to compare it to. Allow me to summarize this entire video in the first minute. If money is not a factor, get the Ally X. It provides more utility and gaming on it is seamless. If money is a factor, get neither. The fuck are you doing? You're not really in the position to be making financial decisions that can greatly impact your daily life. Ignore it until you can comfortably afford one. This is not that important. If you haven't rage quit the video, allow me to explain why I said that. When I first got the Steam Deck, yo, that screen is sexy. That's about all you really get. It's what you're lacking on the back end that matters. You'll constantly find yourself wanting more, but you pay less so you won't. There's like this wall that you'll never climb over. If it isn't obvious by now, for current year, I don't like this. I clearly picked a side, but not because of fanboyism, but for reason. As funny as it sounds, for me to spend my hard-earned money on a device just to dunk on it, I promise you I didn't. This video isn't going to be entirely negative. There are some plus sides to the Steam Deck, for sure, but these are like case-by-case situations. Games that are supposed to run at strictly 60 FPS do work on this game. Street Fighter, for example. Compared to the Ally X, you're not really getting that much of a different experience, but it still runs better on the Ally X. It will run it, but it won't run better. It can do it, but you shouldn't. And here's an example of that compromise. Right here, what you're watching, I was stuck in like an infinite loop searching for an opponent playing Sparking Zero. A lot of the anti-cheats on Steam OS just doesn't work. I don't even know how you can fix that. Some games work, others don't. And that's the gamble that you take with Steam Deck. Every time you want to play a game, you run the risk of it not working, or you can't do certain things because it just don't work on Linux. Both of these devices need to have a love child and would have the best product ever. That's why competition is great. For those who care about settings, the graphics on both of these devices on every game I played, I set them all to their lowest. Everything's set to low. But their resolutions, I kept them what they're advertised as. Since the Steam Deck says it can do 800p, I set it to 800p. And since the Ally X says it can do 1080p, I set it to 1080p. I thought that would be like the most fair test. Something that really bothers me about these comparison videos in regards to the Steam Deck versus Ally, people, they'll dumb down the Ally and make it run at 15 TDP. If you don't know what that means in Dragon Ball terms, that's just the power levels of these devices. But you know, literally, the higher the number, the more performance it can have. The Steam Deck can only go up to 15, but the Ally can go up to 30. Why would you allow the Steam Deck to be at its complete maximum, but you're making the Ally be at its minimum? That's not like a test. We won't be able to see the differences between the two. They're performing at their maximum capabilities right now. Highest wattage, everything. If you really like games and you play a multitude of games, just not a couple of them, even the ones that are verified on the deck, you're making a lot of compromises just to save a couple $100 if you're buying these things new. If you're comparing the 1 terabyte model to the 1 terabyte model, you're only saving what, 150, 200 bucks? The Steam Deck loads pretty quickly, but when you get shit done fast, that's what you get. Shit done fast. I did all that yapping to lead up to this point here. These two devices are alike in many ways. One being that they're both PC gaming handhelds. They are not traditional consoles. They're like gaming laptops if they use Ozempic. So what are the differences? Outside of the OLED screen, the main selling point that people keep saying is the user experience, about how simple the Steam Deck is to set up. This is honestly what I wanted to do the video for. I want to clear this up. Steam Big Picture Mode is Steam Deck OS. I don't care what the fuck they tell you. I don't care how much they try to gaslight you. It doesn't get more detailed than that. Something that you can do with Windows devices, for some reason people forget, is that you can change the startup apps. You don't necessarily have to run what comes on it by default. So that means you don't have to necessarily open up Armory Crate every time you turn on the Ally. The way I got it set up now is that when I turn this Ally on, it's gonna auto boot into Steam big picture mode. For the sake of time, I'm gonna speed up this section so we can go ahead and get my point across. I just blurred my password because some fuckboy in Brazil tried hacking into my Instagram account. I don't know if he watched it and trying to plot on me. I be using the same password for most of my shit, so I ain't trying to mess myself up. As you can tell, it boots right up into Steam big picture mode. And it's the same shit, bro. There's nothing else going on up in Steam OS that you can't do up in Steam big picture mode. Was it that long? How many seconds did you save? It was technically on before. It just didn't open up Steam as quick. But as you can tell, it's the same shit. You can scroll through this. You can scroll through that. You don't have to open up Armory Crate at all. So it's the same experience. It really blows me how they keep taking this Windows handheld thing out of proportion. It's not that complex, bro. Does it take a little longer to set up the Ally X? Sure, but you're only really doing that one time. And when you don't know anything, you go to Google, you go to YouTube. I had the same type of instances with the Steam Deck where there's some shit that I just didn't know. So I messed around with the device, and when I couldn't figure it out on my own, I went to Google or YouTube. They keep treating Windows like it's the boogeyman. I'm gonna get you. 10 extra seconds. I need y'all to understand, if we're trying to use these devices to convince people to come over to PC gaming, Linux is not the direction they should be going. They're gonna be going to Windows. That's where everything's compatible at. That's what they're gonna be using for their huge rigs. They're not gonna be using Linux. I don't know anybody in any aspect of my life that uses Linux for anything outside of this Steam Deck. And I'm the only person that owns one in my life. This gaming PC handheld shit already niche as it is. It's even more niche with Linux. So look, bro, learn Windows. You need to learn Windows. You're gonna get the most experience that you need to prepare you for big PC gaming with one of these Windows-based handhelds. Motherfucker, I learned Windows in the 6th grade and I graduated high school a decade ago. Ain't no way that y'all don't know how to use Windows. If you're an American watching this video, did you forget that you're in America? People in Finland uses Linux, not Americans. Everywhere you go, everything you do uses Windows. All right, trolling aside, I can see some good sides about the Steam Deck. When it does have a game that can run on it, it does look really good and it performs pretty good. And it is comfortable to hold. But we want something with a lot of mileage out of it. And I don't just want to be restricted to certain games. As a PC elitist, like, it's gonna bother me saying that this is acceptable and it's not. So I'm not gonna do that. The closest that you can get, at least from what I've experienced between these two, is with the Ally X, and that's probably the direction you should go. The fact that I'm actually considering replacing one of my PC builds with this Ally X should tell you that it's pretty good. That's just something for you to take away from it. I wouldn't recommend the Steam Deck currently. No, it's not fit. Wait for the Steam Deck 2. That might show a lot of promise, but that's up to speculation. We don't have any numbers or any proof or anything yet, so we can't say anything about that. If this Steam Deck had all the performance of this Ally X, like, I'd probably say, yeah, I'll go there. But as of right now, no.